It is 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you want to lead us in the pledge? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. I have nothing to add. Superintendent, do you have anything to add about your time?
No, thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes. And first, we will start with the May 29th Academic Affairs Committee meeting minutes. And in attendance for the committee was Tom Bickford, Dr. Beth Scheckler, and Danielle Van Dusen. So we need a motion from those who are in attendance to accept the minutes, unless you have edits.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Second.
Motion by Dr. Beth and seconded by Danielle Van Dusen. And Kathy, if you could call the roll of the committee when you're ready, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Beth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes. Does Mary have to?
I wasn't there.
So Mary abstains.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary.
I was abstaining, I wasn't present.
We knew what you meant, Mary.
But did I know?
Next is our meeting minutes for the June 2nd school board meeting. Are there any edits to the June 2nd school board meeting minutes? If not, if there could be a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Jim, seconded by Mary. Seeing no discussion, if you could call the roll, Kathy, once you're ready, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Kirsten? Yes. Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Dr. Beth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Brody?
Aye. Passes unanimously. Next is the June 16, 2025 Buildings and Maintenance Committee meeting minutes. And in attendance at that meeting were Dr. Jim Manning, Kirsten Burke, Kayla Hewitt, and Nate Williams. So if someone who was in attendance would make a motion, unless you have any edits.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, seconded by Kirsten. Seeing no edits or discussion, we call the roll, Kathy, once you're ready, of the committee members.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yep.
Nate?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to the June 16th school board public hearing, a special meeting we had. Are there any edits? And if not, if someone would make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Jim, seconded by Dr. Beth. Is there any edits or discussion? Seeing none, Kathy, if you could call the roll, that'd be appreciated.
Tom?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Kayla?
I'll abstain.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Dr. Beth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Nate?
I'll abstain as well.
Brody?
Aye. Okay, and we'll move on to the manifest approval signed tonight by Tom Bickford, myself, and Kirsten Burke. And what is the total?
Sorry, thank you.
Which sheet? Whichever one I want. I'll take this sheet.
So if your hand was really tired, here's the reason why.
So the manifest total tonight is $12,797,610.23. So there'd be a motion to accept the manifest as proposed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mary, seconded by Dr. Jim. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Kathy, could call the roll once you're ready, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Dr. Beth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Brody?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we'll now move into our first session of public input. 15 minutes, 3 minutes for individuals, unless extended by a vote of the board, and we ask everyone to be respectful and to direct their comments towards the board. I see, well, Ed's technically public.
Yeah, it's
Mr. Gottlieb, selectman, but no comment. All right, then our one public member has no comments, so we will move on. There's a second opportunity if you have some.
already spoke.
Which is very enlightening and felt good.
We will move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Eric-Callahan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'll highlight a few items from my district report. The federal funds that were delayed have been released, so we're very happy that originally we were told that they would not be released, and so for 1 month we were planning to not have those funds, but we will have those funds. So that means we'll be funded for Perkins, IDEA, the titles you see here, particularly Title II and IV, and the 21st Century grant, which funds the after-school program at Ossipee, Schools Out. So we're very, very encouraged by that. We have a lot of programs that this would have impact, our mentor program, mentors for administrators, and a lot of professional development money around math, all would have been impacted. So we're very happy about that. That said, we are suspecting a smaller allocation, is what we're hearing, so we'll adjust accordingly. And then second update, we have received guidance from the New Hampshire Education Department related to new statutory provisions under HB2. They impose strict limitations on DEI-related initiatives in public schools. So effective immediately, we're told we may not use state funds for DEI-related training, assessments, initiatives, programs. We cannot enter into new contracts. We must review all contracts, policies, training, and initiatives and submit a certified report to the New Hampshire Department of Education by September 5th. So we will review these policies. We'll review, and academic affairs will speak to this as well. But we'll review our contracts. What we're hearing is that the ACLU may take action as they have in the past. So I won't certify until the deadline. This deadline is imposed by the state of New Hampshire. There's federally, the deadline is actually at the end of September. I think it's the 25th or 30th. So we do have more time, and the New Hampshire School Administrators Association is going to make a statement and send that to the state as well. But it is very serious. Failure to comply may result in immediate suspension of all public funding until the school or district comes into full compliance. So the law states that the commissioner will halt that funding to any district that does not comply. So we take this seriously while we also comply with anti-discrimination laws simultaneously. That's all I want to say about that.
Are there any questions about the superintendent's update or report?
I have a couple of other things.
Yeah, no, included in the report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I did, to be fair, to say that's all I was saying. Just things you already are aware of. Infinite Campus, we are switching over this summer shortly. So families and staff will receive that information. The .gov crossover is happening for all email addresses Thursday, August 7th. And through the pilot, it was seamless. So the Overwatch organization will be on site on Thursday to work with us for this crossover in case we need any guidance, but we don't anticipate any issues. So we're looking forward to that. That's it for my report.
Are there any questions on the superintendent's report? Comments? Yes, Tom?
Superintendent, you mentioned that the second wave of funding, that we shouldn't call it a wave, is going to be smaller. When would that come into effect?
Good question. I don't know if you've heard the second allocation for Title II, Title IV. Have we been even told that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully soon, but we have not yet been told.
We haven't been told yet.
All right.
Would you guys be able to tell the board once we?
Absolutely.
I would like to know, in case we need to do something for the September meeting, if there's not as much funding as we had anticipated from the federal government.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the superintendent's update on Carpenter School.
Thank you. So Carpenter School, I did send an update to all staff and families last week in our relocation plan and the update regarding repairs. We have decided to move forward with modulars, and we received notification from Primex that they do consider that as part of our insurance agreement for property and liability, that they will cover modulars. So we will have site inspection. We'll walk the site tomorrow morning and determine where exactly they'll go. We have a pretty good idea where they'll go behind Carpenter School. So we're going to have grade 2 housed in the modular classrooms. One will be a double unit and one will be a single unit. We've been assured and confirmed through the structural engineer and the architect that the back section of the building, the newer section of the building, is safe to reoccupy. So we will have grades K, kindergarten and first grade in that section, as well as some special ed services and administrative offices. And grade 3 will be relocated to classrooms at Crescent Lake School. They've done a great job with creating, where those students are going to be housed. There's 4th grade on one side of the hallway, 3rd grade on the other side of the hallway, so they fit well. We're happy that we have these modulars because we have a good solution for all these 4th grade levels. And I need to just shout out to the church as well. They've been absolutely incredible, and although we're not asking to put a grade in there in the fall, they said whatever we need. So we might, have a room at the church for, some maybe extra services, maybe reading specialists, maybe a place for teachers to go during their, planning block, maybe some copying over there. But it's just another option for that. So everyone in the community has been very generous and gracious. But we're also looking forward to going out to bid. That will be, I think we anticipate that to start next week.
Still haven't heard anything yet, but I'll be probing them tomorrow.
Great.
Because this is the week that they said they'd have those ready.
Okay,
To go out to bid.
so once we have those specs finalized, there's a lot of coordination with all of that. We'll go out to bid. That'll last 2.5-ish weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll move forward. We have a few contractors that are very involved and interested in helping us anyway. So, it's not like we have to go fresh and teach all these new people about the project. And we've involved the town, the fire chief, the code officer, every step of the way. Tomorrow is another, walk through. So we're in a good place. School will start on time for our Carpenter students. The project, however, will take into the school year. Any questions?
Nate?
She already had first, go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Herculean, I know I asked you this before, but I think you have a plan for meal service for the students who are displaced or in the modulars, and things like nursing and that sort of, all those auxiliaries?
Absolutely. So we've had a meeting with the Carpenter team, I'll call it, over the past couple weeks, and we have another one on Wednesday, purposefully because it's the day after our site visit. And we need to, at that meeting, we're going to talk about safety, transportation, which teacher is actually assigned to each classroom, services, parking,
IT, and
IT,
and I've
Wi-Fi.
I've talked with food service, so I'll follow up with her tomorrow.
Food service,
Wednesday.
we need to coordinate that as well. We'll have another meeting the following week, but special education and food service will take a little more, might be the next step, because the Carpenter food service staff need to be somewhere. They
We've
were
already
at the middle
established
school. Fantastic.
Yep. All taken care of.
We probably want someone at Crescent Lake
Yeah.
because.
That's what's gonna happen, yeah,
Yeah,
one at Crescent Lake,
perfect.
there's 2 of them, so one at Crescent Lake and one in the middle school.
Perfect.
To prep those meals and to get them packaged up so they can be delivered to Carpenter,
Yeah.
because the cafeteria in Carpenter is in the 1925 section.
In that
Yeah.
section. And the nurse really has to be at Carpenter itself because that's where 3 grade levels are. So we want to make sure she's there. So absolutely, thank you.
Nate?
Oh, yeah, so this is like a breakdown of, because it says, some from insurance company, obviously we don't know until we get the bills, for the bids and stuff, but do we know, like, how much of that 300,000, is it all pretty much, we don't?
I don't know.
Breakdown yet?
I'm really sorry to say, and I even tried to talk to the architect a while ago about, how much, he's like,
Sure.
oh.
You think we'll have it by September, if we have the bids by then?
Once we have the bids back, we'll know, because we know, I don't have the document in front of me and I don't have my laptop, but we know what rooms, and then the whole aspect of the modulars, including all the utilities and getting that set up, will be covered by
Sure.
Primex. We have $1,000 deductible, so,
That's pretty good.
no, yeah, that's very good, actually. Although, rates might increase because of the exposure due to this.
Sure.
But yeah, so we have certain rooms that are totally covered by Primex, all of the modular and the setup, and we just don't know how much the
Okay.
full entire bid's gonna be.
All right, thanks.
Yes, that is definitely
Yeah,
the
that
question.
is the hanging, that is the thing that keeps me awake at night.
Could we get once we have those bids confirmed, and could we just
Yes.
get those final figures?
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be
Believe me, I'll be
posting-
chomping at the bit.
We'll be creating, a place on the website
Yeah.
for all the Carpenter information so that can be published.
So Carolyn can
Great.
Yeah.
get that to you and then put it out there.
Exploring some grant funds,
Mhm.
so we'll see. if that
Even as
works.
we speak, to cover costs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's any grant funds left, based on all the funding things we've seen in the federal and the state, that'd be appreciated. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we can move on to the legislative federal funds update. Oh, how tiny.
Legislative updates, yes. I guess I put the federal funds in the previous page, but
We'll take it.
so this legislative update, this will be covered in the academic affairs update, but I did want to bring to your attention that there's a new state cell phone use law in that it's a cell phone bell-to-bell ban. So that passed, and we must enact this law, and academic affairs review this, so I'll let them explain our conversation there, but just so the full board knows that law was passed. And then the other lots of laws were passed, but this law, the Parental Bill of Rights, this is required in student handbooks effective immediately, and so we had to literally copy and paste Section A and put it in all handbooks. So academic affairs reviewed that as well.
Any questions or comments, or,
When we do again.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can just, people are comfortable waiting until the academic affairs committee report, we'll talk more then if we need to. I imagine we'll have discussions, so. We'll move on then to authorization to suspend. I have a copy. Oh, that's okay. It's here.
I thought you had one.
Here.
Oh, perfect.
And then we have.
And really, this is just the annual authorization to, which one is first? To suspend?
Authorizations.
Yes, so annually, we bring this to the board, so superintendent and assistant superintendent have the authorization to suspend students for up to 10 days or their designees. So I may designate the authority to school principals and assistant principals. We're authorized following a hearing to continue that suspension of a pupil for a period in excess of 10 school days up to 20 days. So this is consistent with what we bring to the board annually.
And I know there was a memo in our meeting packets. Was there?
No, not for this.
Not for this? Okay. So essentially, we're authorizing Dr. Caroline Erikellian, Superintendent of Schools, and Dr. Caitlin Hills, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, as our representatives and authorize them to suspend students from our school up to 10 days in accordance with RSA 193:13-I, subsection B for the 2025-2026 school year.
So motion?
Not a motion, just, I would say the motion would probably be to approve the authorization to suspend as presented. So then we don't have to read the entire statement, but everyone's free to read the statement if they would like, because you have to sign it.
So moved. Nice.
Moved by Mary, seconded by Dr. Beth. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Kathy, you call the roll, and then once we're done, everyone can read it if they want to, and you have to sign it.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yeah.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, so I'm going to sign it, and we can pass it around. Yeah, spare pen. Yeah, we can move on while people are signing.
Okay. So the next authorization is for the board to authorize the superintendent and assistant superintendent, business administrator and/or director of curriculum to sign the assurances for all grants and requests to and from trust funds for the 25-26 school year. So we bring this to you annually as well.
Is there a motion to approve the board assurances for grants as presented? Moved by Dr. Jim,
Second.
seconded by Nate Williams. Is there any discussion or questions?
The trust funds, that's the same as last time, Dr. Erikellian? Or we would bring there would be a public hearing?
Yes, public hearing when required.
That's to expend from it, absolutely.
Yeah.
These are grants, so they're different. They're not like trust fund.
They are trust
It
funds.
does say request to and from trust funds.
Sign assurances for all grants and requests to and from. Well, I know by state law we have to have a public hearing.
Yes.
And I think this would be after the hearing now, right?
That's just to spend after the trust fund expenditure has been approved, is that what's intended?
Is that what you're asking? Honestly, we've never had to do that before, so I'm not even sure if that's truly what it means. Trust funds as in our expendable or capital reserve trust funds. I think it could be a different trust fund, so I think the terminology might not refer to our capital or, like I said, or expendable trusts. It could be trust from grants.
Yeah, this is assurances for grants.
I feel like that could be
Because the trust funds that we know that we hold through our trustee of trust funds is governed by different RSAs, so, yeah, that takes the board. There's no way I can
We
do
didn't
anything.
do that without
Okay.
hearing.
I forgot who made the motion, seconded, you made the motion, and Nate
And
seconded?
Nate seconded, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just trying to keep track, sorry. It's a good question. Okay, so we clarified that, so these are trust funds, we're not referring to our trust funds where
I don't
we've
think so.
established an account with a vote
Yep.
of the legislative body and we're empowered to expend
Correct.
after a public hearing. These are separate trust
I
funds.
believe they are.
Yes.
Yep, we're right ahead. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Kathy, if you could call the roll once you're ready.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten, Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. All right, and I'll pass this around too for everyone to sign. Where's the original? Oh, it's making its way around.
Yes,
Making its way around. All right.
Okay.
It's not, like, just for next year, I think we should just strike it, if it doesn't mean that, it shouldn't happen.
We can look in I can ask the DOE, it's, you know,
It's their,
it's their requirement, so.
Maybe it means something else in other
Yes,
districts.
and that's what I
and we
think.
can ask them to clarify that.
We'll move on to food service costs.
Great,
You'll
thank
see,
you.
this has a memo. You'll see there's a
This has a
memo in
memo.
our meeting packet for this.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Dr. Erikellian.
Thank you very much. So this memo, this was not posted ahead of time, so this may look new to you. Food service pricing, we just received the increases, so we need to adjust these usually every summer before the school year to be in compliance with federal mandates regarding school meal pricing. So you'll see the requested increases. So elementary school student lunch would be $3.75. Middle and high school student lunch would be $4. I included a proposed motion for you there, and I also included 2 other food service updates just for your information regarding our expanded free and reduced lunch qualification process, where we're creating a new form, and we'll have that approved by the Bureau of Nutrition for families before the start of the school year. And we'll also, as announced earlier this year, we'll have an opportunity for the community to support the accounts for families, so school meal debt. Contributions can be made by sending a check directly to the district with a note specifying that the donation is intended for the school food service debt fund. And we'll send that information out again so families have that. But today we are just asking for the motion for the increase, but happy to take any questions that Kathy or I can answer.
Does anyone have any questions about the updates before we entertain a motion? Go ahead.
What are the meal rates presently for each of these?
Presently, the elementary is $3.50 and the high school, middle school is $3.75.
And is there a legally mandated rate of increase that we have to abide on?
We do, but we have to go up at least 10 cents if we've fallen short, and we have fallen short, and we carry over short every year. And so we've carried short 86 cents, so that's why I'm proposing we jump 25 cents, and that is going to put us finally back in line with where we're supposed to be legally.
Any questions about the other food service updates before we entertain the motion on the price adjustments? Just want to make sure we don't bypass any of that. Would someone please make a motion?
Actually, I have one more question. So this is just for lunch, right? Is that
Yeah,
include
that's
milk?
all that's required is lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't include the milk? Because I know
No.
it's different, right?
No,
Okay.
that's staying the same price. And even if we were to opt to increase milk
Yep.
or breakfast, it has nothing to do with it's what's called the price lunch equity tool. It's a requirement for the USDA application of National School Lunch Program.
All right, thanks.
It's just the full pay lunches, that's it.
And Kathy, when you say we fall short, that means
Yes.
that we didn't take in enough full paid
No,
revenue?
no.
Oh, what is it?
Our lunch prices have to be equitable in what the claims are for a full paid lunch. So every month, the food service director takes the tally of all of the reduced lunches, the free lunches, and the paid lunches. And what they're keying in on is the paid lunches. Each of those categories of lunches get different revenues back from the USDA for being part of the National School Lunch Program. That's our revenue. That helps offset the whole program. And when it comes to the full pay lunch, we have to make sure that the price that we're charging is equitable with the amount we're getting back as a claim. And when the claim is higher than what we're charging, the federal government does not like
So
that.
we have been trying to make claims that are higher than what we charge.
We are trying to charge up to what we're getting back in the claims per lunch, full pay lunch only. That's all this pertains to, is full pay lunch. And so what they're saying is you can't be charging $2 per full pay lunch, submitting how many full pay lunches you serve each month and get $4 back in return. We're not here, so in other words, we have to raise, that's what, what they're saying is the lunch.
Why don't they just give you back what you?
Because the federal government doesn't want us making money. This is a nonprofit.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't they just give us back the $2 if that's what we charge them?
Because it costs more than $2 to create a full pay lunch.
Yeah, so
And this is a federal, this
Right.
is all national run.
Okay.
there's 3 reimbursement rates, one for the full pay,
Yeah.
one for the reduced price.
And we
one
get
for the
more
full
for the
price.
full pay because it's a full pay.
Yeah.
And it's rate reduced. You're welcome. Yes, Tom?
Ken, how will our universal free lunches and breakfast fit into this?
They're not. This has nothing to do with universal lunches.
Okay.
This is just the rate that we charge people who don't qualify for the, what, over 300, under 300% of the.
Well, it's 185%.
Yeah, for those who
We
don't
have our
qualify.
extended, which is something totally separate, but we still have to abide by the guidelines of the federal government.
Is it, may I,
Yes, Mary, go ahead.
fair to say the more students who eat at school, the lower the cost of feeding those students?
I would say that, yes, but, yeah, yep. I think that's fair to say, because we're not changing our staffing as much as they want to. We can't justify it, but,
And thank you for sorting this all out, it's a lot.
So would anyone like to make the motion? I'll make the motion because it has to be made, but would someone please second it? Okay, then I'll make the motion to approve the food service pricing for the 2025-2026 school year as follows: $3.75 for elementary school student lunch and $4 for middle and high school student lunch. Seconded by Dr. Beck. Is there any further discussion or questions on the topic? Yes.
Just a comment and a thank you and gratitude for providing the option to have community support, because I remember when we talked about that a couple of years ago and it was very good, so.
Oh, very good, thank you.
Okay. So I know it's a bit of a jump this year, but that's because we want to stay in compliance, meet the federal requirements.
yeah.
Is there any other further comments or discussion?
I-
Hearing, go
Sorry.
right ahead.
I'm always curious about the debt. Was that resolved, I know the debt, student lunch debt that goes up every year. We've done you've done.
I received the box from food service, I'll call it the box, it's everything that I need for the audit. I have not looked through it at all, but I do know from having a conversation with one of the building principals. She said she worked extremely hard. I have to verify this, but I'll take her at her word that she worked extremely hard not to have any meal debt in her school. And so when I look at those numbers, I don't think that she'd be pulling my leg. So I just, when that happens, I'll make the announcement that there is one school that has zero debt.
And when there's debt, it's absorbed by the school district.
The operating budget, yep. By law, the debt from the students cannot be kept and maintained in the food service program, so it then transfers over to the operating budget
And
as a receivable.
there's opportunities for the public to make contributions
Yes.
to that as well.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
And I have a tangential question. I know part of our policy is to have the building administrators, the head of the principals of the different schools have an outreach kind of guidance that they have for how they outreach for increasing the number of students in the federal free and reduced price meals programs and some of the other ones. How is that coming along this year? Because I know that helps control our costs.
They're an integral part of the process. They have to reach out to families when there's debt. So they're part of it. There's a process where they reach out, they have to send a letter.
It starts with the food service, then it might go to counselors, and then it goes to the principals.
But I know, I'm not talking about the debt, I'm
you
talking
mean
about the federal program,
Yeah.
like each
Yeah.
building principal is supposed to have
Oh.
a plan
Yeah.
for how they do their outreach going into the school year. I'm kind of curious, we adopted that policy last year after the beginning of the school year.
Mhm.
How is that process looking this year?
As far as the free lunch forms,
And the plan to how they're gonna best outreach to individual schools and students and families?
we've discussed that, and we have ideas and different ways to look at that. Of
We know
course,
this year will
Parents
take
Square is
more.
helpful
Yeah.
this year. It's
Yeah.
been, we haven't had that before school year
Yeah.
started yet. So we're encouraged about that. We're optimistic. The open house nights are a really good way to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
We have, the community organizations there with the forms and laptops open as a way to help families come in, offering food so that they're coming in, they're more apt to come in and participate, so, yeah.
I only asked because I know we asked our building administrators to improve the outreach, because if families who can't afford the $4 for their student every day, the $20 a week, you know, if they're high school or a little bit less than 20, the $18 about, or $18.50 for elementary school students, there is no risk of them having debt if they qualify for free meals. So then it's not, you know, while it's important to fundraise for these folks who don't want to participate, or even, you know, costs are still expensive for people who don't qualify still, I want to make sure that we're doing adequate outreach, because then that limits the issue of, you know, having debt at the end of the year that needs to be, we need to use general funds to get rid of.
If I recall, those eligibility forms too, if they're completed, then they help inform our ability to do the extended program effectively, right?
And our school funding,
Yes.
Yeah.
the amount we get per pupil, it doubles.
Adequacy aid.
Yep.
Well, and it feeds more kids.
And it feeds, so if more kids are fed, we get more adequacy aid. It better informs as we move towards universal meals. So I feel like that's an integral part, is the outreach that our admin are doing.
I
Yes.
attended the Effingham open house last year, and they were doing a great job. They had a table right there, and they were helping people complete those forms. So I hope that other buildings are doing the same.
So similarly, and also paid as well. The last thing on my mind is I don't know what it's called, where you, there's a fee for uploading money or paying money
Oh, the
towards
credit card fee.
the credit.
Yeah, the Mosaic, which is my school bucks, that keeps going up and up. It does. The only way to avoid that is to send in cash or a check directly to the school. There's no fee whatsoever, but I know parents are not exactly comfortable with that. I know.
I think
That's
that's,
not my 8-year-old.
I gotta tell you, my two boys, all right, they were responsible to a point, but I really thought my, two boys would lose between the two of them, two separate schools, 8.5 years apart. They only lost one check, so I lucked out, I guess, but.
And one of the
Yeah.
features of Infinite Campus is a fees module that we can incorporate in so that, again, we're transitioning to it. We're not there yet, but that's something that we can incorporate in so that parents can use that instead of Mosaic.
Oh, that would be really great. I loathe that.
Yeah.
With
And they even have, I want to say, I read something that the district cannot take on that fee.
I was just gonna ask
It has to be.
that.
Yes,
Really?
I read it. It has to be the parent. We can't do it. And
If it wasn't like a percentage, if it was just like a flat rate, wouldn't be bad, because like I'll put $100 in my kid's account, but I'm not gonna put
It is-
like $100 times 3%, right?
It's
I'd
a
rather-
flat rate. It's $3.50, but there is a caveat that you can't pay more than,
You can only put $120 down at a
Yeah.
time, so
Right.
every time you do it, you pay the fee.
Right, if
Yeah.
you have 2 kids, they're different fees.
So if
right?
you're someone who goes paycheck to paycheck, and you only need to you have one kid, and you only need to upload $40 every 2 weeks, you're paying way more in fees than the wealthier family that updates on 120. So it's kind of a regressive tax to bank.
And that fee is a meal for someone who's
Right.
really pinched.
It's a poor tax.
Yeah. I don't know how we'll tackle that one, but that's something we gotta talk about.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, well, we need to vote still, right, or did we vote?
The motion's on the floor.
The motion is on the floor, and are you ready, Kathy?
Who was the second?
The second was
Nate.
Dr. Beth.
Oh, sorry.
Nate's promised someone would second it.
I just said I would, but somebody already.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Kathy, if you would call the roll, please.
Tom? Tom?
yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes,
Brody.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously, and we will move on to our last item, the Freedom Tuition Agreement.
Yes, so in this agreement, the board agreed to accept students from Freedom to the high school last year. There's a provision in the current agreement to sign it annually, so it's back here for you tonight. I was in touch with that superintendent and said, if you're comfortable with a longer term, I can propose that to this board as well. And so he said his board is very happy with this agreement, and they would be open to a 5-year agreement. And so I said I would come and propose that for you tonight. So the Freedom students to come into school for 5 years.
I reviewed it again, and it was the same as the last agreement that we approved.
We changed the years in it.
Yeah.
Can I ask something about that? So, these are the students where they can apply to come in, but what if there's more than one student in the household? Does it not factor in the whole family?
They, that is on their side of things. So on your side, we can take whoever they want to send to us. They have an agreement with Conway, and part of their agreement, it's similar to our agreement with Wakefield, in that they can send 10% of their students who don't go to Conway to us. So I hope they do that. So if there's a sibling that's in with us, then that's
It's ultimately their
something that-
decision.
we really just received the names, so it's been working well this year. The superintendent sends us names and says, you know, these are the students, you know, these are the families who've requested and who are approved to go to Kingswood. And then we process them and sign them up for classes. So,
I do want to ask the board a question before we delve into more specifics. Is the term is the biggest thing that's changed? Are folks comfortable with a 5-year term? Do they believe it should be shorter? Do they prefer the 1-year annual recertification? Do they think longer might be advantageous? I'm kind of neutral to it. I view 3 would be adequate. I also view 5 is fine, but that's just my personal opinion. I just want to solicit to the rest of the board how they feel about the term and the possible change, because that's the biggest thing that's changing in this agreement at the moment.
How much of the 10% was utilized this last year? Like, was it like 10, 8%, 9%?
maybe 6 or 7 kids. It's hard to tell.
I don't even
I mean, it was
recall.
like a few in the fall, a few in the spring.
Yeah,
Like 6 kids.
that would
It's
be my
not a
guess.
lot.
About
That's-
6,
That
yeah.
would be
So
my
it's,
guess.
it's a benefit to this district.
They pay the same tuition, a full tuition rate, and they are responsible for transportation and all special education costs. To me, a 5-year stable agreement makes great sense. The only reason why I would say a shorter term would maybe make sense would be if they thought they could get a better negotiated deal where they could send 20% or something, but
I actually think it's mutually beneficial. That's why I don't mind the 3-year, because we get 3 years down the road and we might want to be like, we might want to ask them to set a higher
You could
percentage.
amend the agreement though.
At any
I think
time.
I agree.
At any time, they could come to this board and say, something's, 3 years, something has changed, and so if it's mutually agreed upon, you
Yeah.
can change it at any time. So
I
it
think
doesn't-
the stability of the 5-year agreement is lovely. Personally.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Yes? Oh, I thought you had something. You raised your finger.
I was thinking, I have to agree with that, though.
No,
I mean, same deal we have with Wakefield, and in order to really make it functional, I think 5 years is probably better than 3.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's subject to modification anytime you want to do it, so.
yeah, it's in the last page. It says it. It's, yeah, severability and amendments, so we can just have to meet the time requirements.
Okay.
So folks are comfortable with the 5-year?
I'm fine with the 3 to 5.
Are there any other questions, comments, or things on anything else in the agreement, or just generally?
I'm glad that they're happy enough, they want to stay with us for 5 years. That's great. It's a sign of a happy, productive relationship.
Excellent. Well, if someone would make a motion to accept the tuition agreement between Freedom School District and the Governor Wentworth Regional School District as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mary, seconded by Dr. Jim. Seeing no further discussion. If,
Is that for the 5 years? Sorry, just so I know.
yeah, that's
Okay.
it's presented as 5
Perfect.
years.
Thank you.
Yes. Good clarification. Kathy, if you would call the roll once you're ready, please.
Tom? Tom?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we all have to sign and date the agreement. So I'm gonna sign first. It's the August meeting, that's how it is. What is it, 8/4/25? We'll pass it on, and we'll get this back to the Freedom School District. And we will now, that concludes your report?
That concludes my long report, thank you very much.
No problem, and we'll move on to the chairman's report. First is some correspondence that I have in my folder. The board received a thank you card from the National History Day Student Group for supporting their Washington DC trip, June 8th through the 12th, by approving their Wood Estate request for $8,400. And I have a thank you card that is written and signed by the folks. So if you guys want to pass this around and share it, everyone can enjoy it, and we'll, I don't know, we'll have the superintendent put it somewhere in the SAU office after. The other thing is myself and Dr. Manning met with the Brookfield Selectmen after they reached out to both of us to learn more about the enrollment process. So time of the meeting, we're back here, but we met with Ed and one of the other Brookfield Selectmen, and we, superintendent and admin, educated them on the process, and we all learned a lot, and they showed us a list of, you know, potential students that they wondered if they were enrolled, and there was a good discussion, and the superintendent and admin are working with the town of Brookfield to continue, you know, solving any potential issue if someone might be claiming residency but isn't a resident. So it was a good learning experience for everyone. Anyone have any questions about that before I move on to the next thing?
Actually, it might be a good, I had a discussion with a selectman from Effingham, and he had similar concerns about enrollment, so it might be a good opportunity to meet with them as well.
I think if you want to email the Effingham Selectmen and you want us to connect, and we can sit down, meet with the superintendent, we can have a similar discussion like we had with Brookfield. But yeah, I guess, you know, it can be tough to try to, you know, people really want to come to our school district, and sometimes they might claim residence at a grandparent's house, and we do have a truancy officer who goes around and confirm that people are actually residents here, and so sometimes our member towns, as it impacts how much they pay in property taxes, because your enrollment number impacts it. They have an invested interest in making sure that everyone who claims residency in their sending town truly is a resident. So, you know, we're working on any potential issue. We haven't seen any evidence of that at the moment, but we also want to make sure we can assure all of our member towns that, yeah, the people who claim to be residents of your town are truly residents, and we have a clean, thorough process.
We do have a clean, thorough process, right?
We do.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we do.
I expected we did, but this is
Yes.
fascinating inquiry.
Yeah.
Line inquiry.
Do you have a comment, Ed, or no?
No, all I can say is thank you to the Brody and to the superintendent, because you were very attentive and very welcoming for us, and they do a thorough job of investigating. So thank you for that.
Thank you,
Thank
appreciate it. Next, we'll go on to NHSBA. First is resolutions. I know NHSBA, I couldn't access the resolutions that are supposed to be posted publicly.
They only had last year's.
Yeah, I thought they only had last year's
Yes,
too.
and the continuing system is not there.
Everyone's like, okay.
I'm like,
So we're not all crazy.
the deadline was today.
What?
The deadline was today to submit.
Oh, so they probably won't be, okay, so.
We should revisit.
All right, so we will revisit the resolutions, because if there are resolutions, whether continuing for this year or new resolutions, and the board wants whoever our chosen delegate is, which we'll get to right after this, to vote a specific way, and that chosen delegate also gets final say in how the board votes. If we don't take a position, then, you know, we'll wanna give guidance to that delegate. Next is the delegate assembly, which is upcoming. I believe it's the first Saturday in October, or is it the second? It's a Saturday in October. It's on the NHSBA website. But if anyone wants to be a delegate, go to the delegate assembly and be the designee for our board. It's I've done it in the past. I'm gonna go either way. I like going, I like seeing the discussion. They talk more about than just the resolutions for specific legislative policies they'll support in the legislature. It's also bylaws, annual budget. NHSBA has, I think, 168 members. Or maybe there's 168 school boards and nearly all of them are members. But They have a, it's October, okay. So it's October 4th. It's at the Grapponi Center. And so if anyone wants to be the designee to vote on our behalf, that's fine. I'm available every Saturday anyways. I like to go. I like to see Barrett and Will Phillips and Becky Wilson and the whole NHSBA team. They do a great job and provide us amazing services, and us and other school boards. So, but I'm happy to go with someone else too and show them the ropes if they're our designee and introduce them to the NHSBA staff too.
Are we talking about it?
Yeah. But sorry, discussion.
I'm happy to have you do that again, and I can't remember what interfered with me last year, and it could happen again this year, but I would like to go, but I'm happy for you to represent us.
We can carpool.
And, but is there opportunities to chat with people, or you just sit and listen?
Yeah, there's a lot. They serve some continental breakfast. You sit and chat, talk to other school boards. There's a presentation usually done by the school board of the year. A lot of our communications planning stuff that we've been doing with the community relations committee was born actually out of the Jaffrey Ringe Cooperative and the work that they had been doing. I was like, why aren't we doing this? When I talked to Dr. Jim, who's the vice chair, he was like, we did do this. But then we stopped, and we should continue doing it. So a lot of that, it's a great place to learn from others, and also just learn about the School Boards Association itself. And like, you know, a lot of people, when they read about the School Boards Association, they hear a lot about the stance on vouchers or, you know, education freedom accounts and other things related to public education in Concord, but they don't realize that that's like a tiny sliver of the services we get. Like, they provide us, we save a lot on legal, utilizing them. All our sample policies come from them. Any feedback, they'll write a sample policy for us. You know, the superintendent can always reach out to them if the board has a question. So it's a cost-effective way of getting that suite of services. So I'm always happy to, you know, proudly show off our wonderful folks down at NHSBA.
And the seminars are really phenomenal.
Yes, the trainings that we get to ongoing, the workshops. So.
I actually intend to go this time. I got boarded last year, but I think I'm free that weekend. I'm completely agnostic as to who is our delegate, and if you wish to do it, Brody, I think that's great.
Is
But I look forward to
Is
going.
anyone itching to be the delegate? It's usually if someone's itching for it.
I'm not itching, I just wanted to say I might like to go.
I think our whole board is allowed to go.
School bus, we need a school bus.
Although
You have a large vehicle. I don't mind driving.
if our whole board does go, we want to tell them, because there might be limited seating, because usually they seat you in twos. So we can ask them if they can, you know, if it's accommodated for our entire board to go. But we have to designate someone. The reason why is because when they ask for what's your final vote, someone has to make the decision to be the final vote.
So
It's
I
on
move-
their rolls down there.
So I move Brody to be our delegate.
Seconded.
Moved by Mary, seconded by Kayla. Is there any further discussion? Kathy, if you would call the roll, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla. Yes. Dr. Jim,
Aye.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth.
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody.
Aye. I almost abstained. I almost voted no. I was like, we're gonna agree all on everything tonight. Maybe I should
That's good.
disagree on one thing. But it would be a little ironic, wouldn't it though?
We have to throw it out.
I think I would have confused you guys. Would have been like, really? Well, so we'll take up resolutions at the September meeting. We'll have a discussion once they're public, and you know, you guys can, the entire board can instruct me on how to vote on anything specific. Otherwise, I'll just make a game time decision after reading them.
They do post them to the site that Kathy directed us to when
Yes.
they are ready. Okay, so save those.
I will ask Derek tomorrow about when they're up, because I'll say we wanted to discuss it tonight, but we couldn't. Where are they? Next, we'll move on to committee reports. And first, we're going to start with academic affairs. They have a kind of special report for us due to changes in state laws, and I'll give the floor to Beth.
Thank you. As Dr. Eric Callahan mentioned, the Academic Affairs Committee had sort of emergency meeting based on guidance from the NHSBA in light of the recent legislative actions. So we reviewed together two policies, policy AB, which is the New Hampshire Parental Bill of Rights, and policy JICJ, related to unauthorized communication devices. And these policies were presented to us via the new law as effectively verbatim. We had very little ability to change even any of the text there, and so the policies reflect legal compliance in these cases. So if you're wondering why the tone of the policies is a little unusual for what you might normally see from our district, that's why we got them directly from Concord. Happy for your thoughts, but we are asking for the board to do an emergency adoption, which requires a waiver of our normal policy adoption process under policy BG. But before I do make that proposal, if there's any discussion about either of those two policies from the rest of the board, we're happy to hear it, or I can talk a little bit about what we spoke about at academic affairs.
I'll make the motion to suspend, and then once we discuss the policies, I just have one grammatical.
Okay, I may or may not be able to accommodate you.
I understand. So I move to waive the second meeting limitation in order to take immediate action to adopt a new policy or revise an existing policy as allowed in the school board policy BG board policy process.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Kathy, could you call the roll once you're ready, please?
Tom?
Yeah.
Kirsten? No. Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Aye.
Mary?
Yes.
Dr. Beth?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Brody?
Aye. Okay. So we have the other motion, but my only thing was under the unauthorized communication, specifically where it says parents will be consulted in the process.
Yes, I will say that small revisions were made during the committee meeting, mostly to ensure that we were consistently using personal communication devices versus personal electronic devices throughout, except in one place related to devices that record video. But if there's a specific change that we...
Yeah, my one thing is under review. The way the law is written is it says parents plural. And the way that we have parents has the S bracketed.
Are you in
I think that means if a child only has one parent. So they may only have one.
We're supposed to collaborate with every parent? Because that's what that would imply, is that we have to collaborate with every single
Well, this
parent.
implies if the student has one parent, we only collaborate with their one parent.
Or if you have
they
a
have two
situation of
parents,
joint custody with
then they
different...
would with parents.
See, I thought the intent was the superintendent shall annually review the policy in collaboration with parents, so you have to include parents when you review the policy.
Oh, I see.
And teachers with a report and recommendations for policy changes to be delivered to the board each school year.
That's fine.
So I didn't interpret it as like I thought it was like the superintendent every summer is gonna have to have a few parents and a few
It's not gonna be just one
teachers,
parent. Right.
yeah, sit down and be like, is the policy gonna work? And frankly, I don't even see why the state's mandating a review, because the state has mandated a very rigid policy. What's there to review?
I would say sometimes only one parent shows up.
I disagree with some of the wording though. I feel like it's up for interpretation still. So specifically the bell to bell thing, because there's a bell to start each block and a bell to end each block. And there's no definition of what is instructional time in the actual. So I think I might have voted wrong on the last one. That might have been a yes for the other one and a no for this one.
Right, we're gonna vote again
Okay.
for the policy.
If you'd like to change your vote
I would
on the
like
last-
to change my vote on the last one
Sure.
to yes. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I kind of assumed, or I thought you were like, you're just against it. I was like, you know what?
You could vote no on both.
No, and
No,
the other one I was
yeah.
fine with. I really. That's good enough.
You know, I sent an email to Kirsten to that effect too, and I just think, I actually called one of our state reps, and he said the intent is bell to bell, not even those breaks. And there was another bill that the governor vetoed that allowed for outside of instructional time. And the governor wanted in the budget with other legislative leaders the bell to bell, and I think they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in trying to support us preventing cell phone use during classroom time. They went that extra step too far where now like a kid can't pull out his phone and text his parents during lunchtime or something like that, or they have a medical issue and they don't want to have to go.
That's a noted exception.
And we're assuming intent, like,
I'm thinking like a medical issue though.
No,
You're-
medical issues are specifically called out by this.
yes, it doesn't, what about medical issues for students that maybe don't have a,
Insulin.
yeah, they don't have insulin, but maybe they have anxiety or something like that, and they may not have.
I think what they're trying to do is the case-by-case basis for the superintendent to approve. That would be the kind of thing that.
My thing is you're the middle school girl who, unexpectedly gets her period and you want to text your mother to get tampons.
Right.
And now you have to walk all the way down to the office. You have to tell someone I'd like to use a phone, it's for a medical reason, or you go to use and secretly use your phone in your locker and you get in trouble.
We go to the nurse.
Go to the nurse.
I know you go to the
Yeah, but
nurse,
not everyone's
but yeah,
comfortable with that, right?
I get it. I get they go to the nurse, but that's just.
I've gotten calls from one of my children saying that they needed me to come pick them up during school because they were having a really rough day. And they wouldn't have been comfortable going to the teacher. They wouldn't have been comfortable going to the office. And they messaged me, and I came and I withdrew them from school for that day because they needed a personal day. And I don't know. The bell-to-bell thing, and I just feel like it says that, but it also says instructional time, and there's no definition of what instructional time is in it, so.
I think the point that, and I'm not arguing with you, Kirsten,
Right.
one way or the other, but I think the point is for the community to understand that if there's ambiguity in this law, then those are questions that they should direct to Concord, because we have had no ability to tailor this to what our community needs or what our students need or what our families want. This was given to us without any kind of ability to have local control.
Also, no public hearing on the specific policy. It was a public hearing on a separate policy and a separate bill, so.
And as Dr. Arkelian noted, we already had a personal communication device policy in place that attempted to strike a reasonable balance between that
It
need
was
for students to
reasonable.
communicate outside.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to that point, I'm confident that this law, when tested, because these are the tests that are going to come out of it, will do a lot for intent, for the safety, security, and education of students. And I look forward to that test.
I think that's the most,
Very interesting.
I think it's the most cordial, graceful way to say that.
That's me, very cordial, graceful.
I think we
And
should.
then
There will be tests.
from the less cordial, like zone, just saying.
Let it rip.
No, so, yeah, so I mean, I'm going to vote yes because we have no choice as a board but to have a policy in place, like legally our hands are tied. I think it's really heinous that our state representatives spend their time, that's kind of valuable, on something that's going to take our administrators and teachers' time, and that they will champion as a win for mental health rights while they continue to do nothing for the mental health of our children in the state. Thank you.
I also think that,
I agree.
I also think we should all extend a lot of empathy to Principal Fenelari this year, because his time will be spent on this policy to an unreasonable extent.
That's my biggest thing is that this is just an example of just government run amok. They really think that our about 20 administrators are going to be able to support the over 100 teachers that we have in preventing every student from utilizing. there's time that needs to be spent on instruction, and really, I mean, put it in the little, you know, they had the parking lots where you put it in your little spot.
Can't do that.
Yeah, you can't even do that, where it's like the teacher says, put your phone in the basket, you get it at the end of the class. Like, there are ways that schools were mitigating this issue of phones interrupting instructional time, and now they've just, you know, now, and we're the ones who, people won't know that it was Concord that mandated this.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
will. I'm happy to tell
I'm
them.
happy to tell them too, and I know the governor and some of our legislators are really, they're talking about how much they've championed it, but wait until September 30th. They'll all be saying, well, we didn't think that that's how the school district would implement it, and they knew exactly what they wanted us to implement. And they'll play the scapegoat, and they'll again say, it's public education, that's the problem, it's taking away parents' rights, and there we have it. There we have it. We have Concord, taking its long arm and reaching down into the administration of local schools and districts and taking away ultimately people's voices that they've expressed through their local boards with the people they've elected. I think if our state legislators have this big of a concern with cell phones, and they should run for school board, and I bet none of them ever will. So, any other comments or discussion?
No, I think
I just wanted, sorry. I'll just say that I agree with everything you've all said, and I am voting yes for this because it is legally required, but I appreciate that we, in our own policy prior to this, had developed that balance. So, do what is required, and that is it.
And the Academic Affairs Committee is happy to re-review this policy should there be legal challenges, other changes to the legislature.
Should there be?
I would like to
That
hear what
seems
other
to be-
schools are,
When
how they're gonna interpret this, that don't use the same NH.
Thus far, in my brief calls to a few, everyone is, and we'll see what New Hampshire Ed says, but everyone is bell to bell. That means first bell of the day to the end, and probably will be a bill this year to change it, because I bet it.
Are there even teachers in at lunchtime or in the halls instructing children? Like, how is that instructional time? I just don't understand.
Because they don't use the term instructional time, they use instructional day. And that's any day when instruction's happening. If they used instructional time, then that would be totally different, because it would be very clear instruction needs to be happening.
That would be aligned with our old.
That would be in line with our old policy, and we probably wouldn't have had to change anything, but
The academic school day, referred to as a school day.
Yeah, but the academic school day, like what?
School day includes.
That's what I'm just torn on. There's just not a definition in here of what an academic school day is.
bad laws are written.
So they're gonna blame us.
Yeah, they will.
They're gonna
And
blame our-
they do love to do that, and bad laws are written when people don't adequately define terms. And
Because
that's a
they
prime
could've just-
example of where they should say, this term means X. And instead, when they leave it ambiguous, if there's fallout, they can blame us for reasonably interpreting it the way that they wrote it, rather than trying to have that flexibility that we previously had without a law that was limiting cell phone use in classrooms, which begs the whole question as to, was the law really necessary when school districts were proactively addressing cell phone use in the classroom?
Yeah, and I will say that this board had already made it clear that we were in support of limiting interruptions to the academic instructional time in the school day through that old policy, which.
And to Danielle's point, there's more than just cell phones that disrupt students' learning environments, like mental health issues and bullying and other things that the state is not supporting us on and helping students.
And I will note too that there, in our discussion in academic affairs, we noted that there are other electronic devices, that the wearable world changes and is changing radically, very quickly. I had a parent reach out to me who is a former police officer and has her children wear watches for geolocation purposes only, for security reasons, and who's very upset because this bill denies her that right. And so, this is going to be an ongoing issue.
Yeah. A superintendent mentioned to me that there are first and second graders that have the Apple Watch, and it's strictly so that parents can track and call them.
Right.
And that's now prohibited. They
They are.
can't even wear that.
Correct.
And if you're a parent, you made that investment, for your student's safety, your child's safety. How do you think you feel right now? I couldn't imagine. Is there a motion on the floor?
No.
I can't remember.
I will make the motion. The motion now is I move for emergency approval of school board policy 8B, New Hampshire Parental Bill of Rights. Kirsten, would you like me to separate them?
Yes. I would
Okay,
like them
so
to be
that is the
separated.
motion on the floor for policy 8B.
I'll second that. We didn't discuss this one very much. Does anyone have any discussion on the parental bill of rights mandated in policy and in the handbook?
Right. A is completely verbatim. B, we struck a couple of words because they said every year 3 times.
But I do have one.
Sorry.
What would happen if this board happened to vote against adopting that policy?
We should follow the law.
We would
Which-
be illegal. We would be out of compliance with the law.
So you would
no,
have to be
we-
challenged in court of law.
Yes.
You
We
could
would
still
have to
keep
follow.
your current policy and wait for that challenge to occur. And in the meantime, it could be modified at the state level down the road. Just asking the question.
So I will say, as your district employee, we have to follow all the laws regardless.
Yeah.
So even if and when there's policy that, you know, there are laws that exist that are not in policy, we have to follow them anyway. So, we have to follow the laws, regardless of policy.
We don't want to put our administration in a position where they are between a rock and a hard place, between state law and board policy.
Well, they'll choose state law.
Thank you.
They'll have to choose
I
state
know,
law.
I know they will,
But
but
they,
she,
yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate
but I
that.
understand why
Yeah,
we
so
want
why,
to do that.
why bother with the vote?
That's what I was thinking.
My personal opinion is it sets clear expectations that we support our admin having to follow the law.
And
I don't think it's an endorsement necessarily of the policy. It's more of a rather than leave that ambiguity to our administrators that we're adopting this in accordance with this law because they're going to have to carry out the law either way.
and families,
It sounds like beat them because you guys have decided on a policy that you feel comfortable with, and somebody else is telling you at the state level, can't do that.
Happens a lot.
Well, I understand, but you do have rights, you can vote.
and families look to policy to see, it does, you know, the school's making us do something. They look to policy to see, oh, did the school board say, or is this just the school's, you know, did the school just decide on this? So we depend on policy for families, for communication from the board. It's instruction for administrators, it's a recipe for all of our employees, and then the community looks to it because they respect the board, they respect what you put in place. And they know, oh, okay, it is school board policy. The school board does back us up.
And we're
Tom?
talking about it
Could we add language to our motion that says something to the effect that it's with reservation?
Yes, per the
Okay,
tyrants in Concord.
I don't think we should amend the motion. I think we should just leave it as is. The current one, we're on AB right now. And then, and I hear your point, Ed, that it's, you know, what's the point? I think the point is that we should do the right thing, which is have our policies in accordance with state law. And then when people come to us and ask, why is our policy like that? Why is the state law like that? Say, those are the ones who made the decision and dictated that's the policy we shall adopt. And at least especially the AB one, the AB does require, it says the school board shall adopt the policy. And actually, same thing with JICJ, the cell phone, it says, the state says we shall adopt the policy at the board level. So I don't always love laws that say
In a
shall.
court of law, you'd be able to argue that you did follow the bell to bell because at the high school there are bells. So, I mean,
Is there any discussion on
the AB one, no.
AB?
Sorry. I'm still stuck on.
Kathy, if you would call the vote, and I imagine we'll have a little bit more discussion on the next one.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes, with reluctance.
I'm sorry,
Yes, reluctantly.
Oh, this is AB.
Well, I'm still reluctant about that one too, Jim.
Oh, okay, never mind.
we didn't write that one.
Yes.
Beth?
Fine.
Danielle,
Yeah.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. Okay, and so we now need a motion for,
Yes, I move for emergency approval of school board policy JICJ as required by state law for unauthorized communication devices.
seconded by Kayla. Is there any discussion on this policy, any further discussion?
I have a comment. I think it could be argued that the smartwatch, or whatever it is, the technology that's on the first grader's wrist to know where their child is, if they're not communicating, which is what's in here, it's not an interactive thing, and it's basically secured on their wrist, that we wouldn't tell a parent, or that the law doesn't tell a parent, your first grader can't wear this thing.
Yeah, we tried to, we said we wanted to define it as personal communication devices, so I think if they're not being used for conversation, then it shouldn't be part of the sweeping
it
ban.
depends on if the device allows for the communication.
Mhm.
So if it has communication capabilities, it's included. If it doesn't, if the parents, if my phone just says, my child is, at my home address or at the school, but there's no way for me to communicate to him and him to communicate to me, it would not be included.
I wonder if they disabled the setting, would that be adequate?
I think there's a lot that New Hampshire Ed needs to provide with guidance.
Yep.
And, we might revisit this policy within the next couple of months, once New Hampshire Ed has provided guidance and NHSBA updates code. You have to remember the law went into effect July 1. NHSBA had to write guidance for almost 300 plus different bills and new laws that passed pertaining to public education. So they have to pump all those out, and they're still pumping those out, and they tell us which ones to prioritize because they're ones that either the community really knows about, people have a great expectation, depending on their political flavor, that something has been adopted, and things of that nature. So, and also, so admin in the case of something as drastic as this, have time to prepare, and we set a clear policy for what it says and how they're going to prepare and abide by the state law. Because the policy, at least with JICJ, is not just a copy and paste of what the state mandates you to put in the handbook. It is an interpretation of what are reasonable ways for implementing and what are reasonable restrictions, what are exceptions, what qualifies under federal and state law, and that kinds of thing is important for community members to be able to read and understand, and for our admin to have guidance, guardrails for what we expect.
Yeah, and one of the you can notice in section D of this policy as we're presenting it is that the administration thoughtfully offered some differentiation in the way that we handle discipline based on what school you're in. At the very least, at what handbook you're receiving dictates what kind of disciplinary action will be taken with students. So it doesn't have to be like other across the board things. So where they could, I think that there's been some attempt to work within the confines of the law as written.
I also think it's important that there's a mandate to disseminate a policy. So if we don't have a policy, then we're not fulfilling that mandate to disseminate a policy. That's an important thing to remember with both of these, and why there's kind of a rush from NHSBA is that we need to have this policy as adopted by us, disseminated by the admin before the beginning of the school year. If we don't adopt a policy, then there's nothing for them to disseminate. I mean, I guess theoretically you could disseminate the state law, but that's not a policy that we've adopted. So it doesn't really still meet the letter of the law of what the state is requiring us to do.
We do have a policy. It's just not this one.
We don't have a board policy.
We don't.
No.
Yeah, this is TBD.
Our current policy is a building level policy specific to the middle and the high school.
Should be.
Because it's not something that's really required for the elementary school, because reasonably, it's a lot easier to control it. Less kids have those communications devices.
Would it be unrealistic to add something along the lines of that it's acceptable to use during an emergency or in specific designated zones?
I think
For instance, like, could they go to the office and use their phone to text or send a message to a parent in an emergency situation?
I think
Or is it
so.
automatically gonna be like, I have to go and I have to
I
call?
thought emergency is in here.
That could be in the handbook, potentially, like if the high school wanted to say, you're, like nuance, like once you're dismissed for the day, you're dismissed and this policy does not apply to you, or, this policy does not apply during sports practices, or whatever, with permission of the building administrator, you can use your personal device. So, I don't know, like, there may be flexibility in the handbook implementation.
I'll just point out in the state law, the only permission, does it say superintendent or designee in the state law?
Yes, I thought it did.
So I guess technically the superintendent could designate, but the exceptions are extremely limited.
They are.
It wouldn't be like you
medical
couldn't-
disability.
Yeah, it's like basically they added those exceptions so they wouldn't be, because the other bill that was less strict didn't meet ADA requirements. So they made a stricter one that met ADA requirements. Yeah, Dr. Els?
I mean, I think it's a slippery slope if you say in designated zone you're an emergency, because my emergency might be different than what you qualify as an emergency. But maybe it's something that, if you kind of say, if you need to communicate with home, go to the office, and then when you get down to the office, if you can say to the child, you can call home on your cell phone while you're here. If students know they can go to the office, maybe they're there, they're being monitored so that, they're not fooling around using it, they're using it for a valid reason, maybe that's
What's the difference between using the landline at that point versus?
well, I know.
Point, right, they just call from the office.
But maybe they're texting versus, a landline you can't text, and maybe it's just easier to text, but.
I personally think the law is pretty straightforward. It's you put your cell phone away, which I don't agree with that it's throughout the whole day. Unless you get an exception from the superintendent and it needs to meet some kind of, basically an ADA requirement or an IEP. My personal opinion is we approve the policy as written because that's what's required by the state law. And I would make a motion after this to send a letter to our state senator and legislative delegation through our Governor Wentworth and ask them to update this law so there's more flexibility for parents, families, and students, so students can utilize their phones during non-instructional time.
It would be nice to see that in the NHSBA resolutions too. I don't know. I mean.
Well,
we're told now.
NHSBA endorsed, as did
Oh.
NEA, they endorsed
Okay.
this type of law. So, I don't know if NHSBA did, but I definitely know NEA did.
So if
I
they
don't know.
if they endorsed the law, then it's gonna be from their perspective how it should read regardless of
See,
the actual wording.
I'm gonna pull that back. I'm not sure if they endorsed the law. I know NEA and the governor did.
I mean,
So the teachers.
Do we have like an attorney who can look at the wording and tell us like?
An attorney wrote this and did tell us.
Yes, but one that's with the SBA
No, Barbara was
that wanted this to pass, right?
I don't think they wanted it to pass.
Oh, I thought you-
I misspoke.
Okay.
I don't know if they even weighed in, but I know they weighed some level of concerns. However, they have an attorney that objectively reads the law, writes this, and gives their best legal advice to protect us and to ensure we're in accordance with the law. We can for our next meeting have Barbara Lohman review the law, but oftentimes they have a group of public education attorneys that all collaborate and work with NHSBA on how they all interpret the law. So they've already had discussions too, so these attorneys don't always act in silos. They meet regularly each month to discuss these things. So I don't think I think we'll pay our attorney, a few $100s to provide us probably identical advice. So not saying we shouldn't, if you'd like us to trust but verify, but just saying that I think the law is written poorly. I think though the intent was a bell-to-bell ban, I think there are many people around this table who don't like it, but I don't think that changes our obligation to have to adopt a policy in accordance with state law. And I'm more than happy, you know, to entertain a motion for the board to reach out to our legislative delegation and say, hey, you know, when you guys talked about state restrictions on cell phone use during instructional time, we did not think that meant a bell-to-bell ban. There are reasonable reasons why a student during the instructional day, like lunch or in passing periods, or during even a study hall theoretically, should be able to utilize their personal cell device that's outside of instructional time, which was in accordance with our middle and high school's policy before, where during instructional time they went away, during personal time, students could utilize them. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm from. You have another comment, Ed?
Yeah, I think you guys are real close to that. I don't see why, we voted now to adopt the laws with, okay, you did your duty. You can also form a policy that says we as a school board are going to make exceptions to that policy for the health and safety of the child and or parent.
Well, that is in this.
Yeah, there's a process for the superintendent.
It's limited to what the state law allows.
I think it limits it more in here than it does in the act, because I'm just reading them very differently, so.
That happens. Is there any other discussion? There was a motion on the floor to adopt this.
I'm sorry, do we need you to state your full name, even though I know people know it?
Oh, yeah,
Just
Ed
since-
Gothier.
Oh, for the record,
Right.
Ed Gothier.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying, Danielle. Seeing no other discussion, Kathy, if you would call the roll, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
No.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes, reluctantly.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Fine.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. So the motion passes 8-1. Now I will, before, I guess we conclude the discussion on the matter, before we go to the other, do folks want us to draft a letter and send it to our legislators? And
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can have a draft letter to the next meeting, and
Do we need a motion vote?
do you guys want to vote on drafting a letter to consider sending to our state legislative delegation?
I think we should.
Do you-
Yes.
anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to send a letter,
We'll draft a letter so then we
draft
can-
a letter
and then we'll review it at the September meeting.
and review it.
Seconded.
Motion by Kirsten, seconded by Danielle, so everyone's clear, we're gonna draft a letter, and at our September meeting, we'll review that letter, and once we approve what the final thing will be, it'll probably be something simple and short, and we'll all sign it, and then we can send it to them. Sounds good, Jim?
I'd like to make a motion to add this, in the simple sense that we can send it to the school board association as well, so that they have a copy of it on their record.
For now, we're gonna draft one, so
Right,
we can
okay.
do that one.
But send it to the school board association.
Oh, to review?
Yeah, no, not necessarily review, because they're aware that somebody's already going out there on this.
I can tell them that we're drafting a letter, and we'll make sure we share that letter with them when we send it to our delegation. And we can include that in the motion at the September meeting if we approve the letter, I don't know. But, is there any other discussion? All right, Kathy, did you get the motion?
can you just specify where you're sending it?
To our state legislative delegation. They're gonna love us.
Of each town.
That's what our Governor Wentworth.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, I think we have a senator, 2 senators actually, because Durham's in another Senate district, and probably like 8 or 10 state reps. So we'll see what they have to say. Probably nothing or something mean in the legislative editorials following me.
He already does that.
He already does it either way, so I guess we'll give him some extra fodder. Is everyone, so we can vote? You have any?
No.
Oh.
No further discussion.
All right, Kathy, if you could call the roll, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Rudy?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, so we will have a draft letter for folks to review at the next meeting.
This concludes the academic affairs report.
Thank you, Dr. Beth. Thank you for the robust discussion, everyone. We'll move on to buildings and maintenance. Dr. Manning.
All right. It's a very brief thing because the superintendent and Kathy have really covered the situation. All we really have left, other than what was discussed at the meeting, was the status of this turf field. And we're on schedule,
Yeah,
ready to get it done.
yeah.
It was in the newspaper.
You want to see it?
Oh,
You want to see it and then get the guided tour? You can go to 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
I can't wait to see it.
We've been having standing meetings every Wednesday morning to make sure everything is going as planned. If there are any issues, I've been absolutely communicative with them to say if any issues that they have pulling in trucks or with public or with anything, please call us. We don't want anything to slow the process down, and nothing. They've been very pleased and saying that the condition of the field underneath the turf when they removed it was in phenomenal shape.
You have a comment?
Question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you have any update on the lead removal at Newton?
I couldn't hear you,
sent
Beth.
that.
I sent that to
I know, I know.
So it's a mistake.
I think, do you want Dr. Eric Kelly to provide an update?
Yes. What's the plan? I'm sorry. Can you
Could
just,
you provide
could you just provide it so that,
an update on the lead removal at the New Bern
Oh,
yeah.
School?
so, let's see. I didn't bring that.
The principal
update.
submitted the quotes to remediate,
okay.
and the state came back and said, well, you need to go out to bid, get
Okay.
quotes,
Oh,
multiple
those are
quotes.
posted, right.
So we had to post requests for quotes
Okay.
on the website for 2 weeks
Okay.
in order to satisfy that need. And I have a feeling that it was due to the cost amount. This was a much higher amount than
Okay.
Ossipee was.
And
So
we're still in that window.
I do believe we are.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah. But we have the quotes, we do have quotes for the work, because like I said, the principal submitted it to the state,
Yep.
to the Get the Lead Out program,
Okay.
and they just required us to be a little bit more open to receive more quotes. I don't know that I don't believe any more have come in.
So in maybe by September, we might have some news.
Well,
on
we'll
that.
have news to be able to go back to, that we've resubmitted based on their request.
Okay.
And then once the state approves, that's when we have to then notify the vendors who got the jobs and schedule them.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I'm still gonna ask.
Yep.
but thank
No,
you.
absolutely, yep.
Does that conclude your report?
That concludes the report. I think that's Carolyn took care of the time.
That's it.
Great.
Thank you.
I believe it's Nate for the community
It is, yeah.
community relations report. Congratulations on
Oh, thank
being
you.
the committee
Yes,
lead there.
So excited. No, it was, we had a really great meeting last week, very effective and efficient. As Dr. Jim had a lot of work getting done on this pool, so we want to be efficient as possible. We discussed a lot of stuff, couple of things, long-term priorities, creating a strategic, communication plan, pretty similar to examples like Jaffrey and White Mountain had. So that's kind of a long-term goal of the committee, maybe like a year goal. And then, short-term stuff, we have a lot of stuff coming up, obviously with, with the budget, and, we want to make sure that we get that out to as many communities as we can, so people can be involved, as well as, the negotiations going on, so making sure that we support, whatever comes to the table. So trying, those two kind of worked into two motions that we have that we'd like to propose. Oh, sorry, before we go to that, though, we did have a discussion to do another roundtable, hopefully at the October board meeting, hopefully in Effingham. So to bring some PTOs together to talk about, we'll get more specifics about, but basically just to talk about bringing the PTOs together to try to,
Talk about fundraising.
exactly,
Talk about fundraising.
fundraising.
There's one typo in my memo there. It's October, not September.
Yes,
October.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, that's coming up
Yeah, that was
fast.
a
Jeez, in the
typo.
middle of
I got a little nervous.
Told you we were an efficient, had an efficient.
October.
Not that
So October 9th at 5 at Effingham Elementary School, you guys are gonna have a roundtable on PTO fundraising.
We'll have a PTO roundtable on it.
And I see, so there's 2 proposed motions.
Yep.
Do you wanna discuss the first one, or do you want us, I'll make for discussion, the Community Relations Committee unanimously, or I'll make a motion, for the full board to approve the creation of a GWRSD SAU 49 district-wide social media account. The platforms will be determined, so the social media platforms will be determined by the district administration based on strategic fit and community outreach.
You made the motion?
Yes.
Second.
Go ahead. I mean, I can't really speak to the motion.
Yeah, so we thought, obviously, social media is a great avenue to get word out. We thought it would be a great tool to be able to leverage some stuff from like Wolfeboro, Community Television, provide a link, because lots of people get their information from social media these days, whether that's good or bad. But we thought it would be a great avenue for people, and to be able to connect a lot of the different communities. So we thought it's our job to make sure that we bring it to the whole board so that we can vote on it. And then if that passes, we have another motion to fund that. But because we don't expect anybody to do it for free, because it's a big task. So.
I just add some color to your note. We had a great discussion about this, and while we all have mixed feelings about the way the district is discussed on social media, we feel like this is a proactive response. And if you have a presence on a platform like Facebook or Instagram, you can provide direct from the source information. A lot of our schools already have social accounts, and they can be cross-linked. And some of the materials that the district is already pushing to its website and other channels can be shared on that platform, and you can prevent comments, which is
I was just going to
yes,
mention
that was
that.
a key component to our conversation. We wanted it to be an informational board only with no interactive options.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of municipalities or other school districts, they don't disable comments, and there's usually a general expectation that if someone inquires, or they have a general expectation if they inquire, they expect a comment reply, and really those inquiries should be going through the business office so that people can get their questions adequately answered in a professional way.
That's a full-time job if you leave that.
Oh,
that one.
And really not any kind of return on your investment.
Okay, I think that's more than reasonable, using it as a comment, but using it strictly as a way to increase the way that we deliver information to residents of the school district and parents and families.
We thought it was especially useful for things like calendaring, for like the finance review meetings and other important district events, so that people are seeing them regularly and aware that they're happening.
I think that's great. Is there any other further discussion? Seeing none, Kath, if you would call the roll once you're ready, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Aye.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye. Okay, and then the next motion, I don't know as
So we
much
can
about
fund.
this one.
So nobody's gonna, it's a tall task. So if with funds allowed from our business administrator, we would like obviously to find a stipend to take care of the social media.
And there are webmaster positions already in the district at the different buildings. Is that right?
That's right.
So we thought this position would be analogous to one of those positions which are stipended, and we know we're in a default budget, so this is pending if there are adequate funds to.
So who wants to make the motion? I have discussion, but
Do you have any idea what that would cost?
let's get a motion on the floor and then we can discuss, because I have that same exact question too.
Okay.
I'm very curious.
I'll make the motion. Pending adequate funding, the Community Relations Committee unanimously recommends that the full board approve, that's not the motion.
That was their
We-
motion.
We recommend that pending adequate.
Yes, okay, sorry. Pending adequate funding, that the full board approve, allowing the district to identify a stipend to employ a social media manager. And the position's compensation and candidate selection will be determined by the SAU administration, modeled after similar roles currently in place, such as the district webmasters.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, seconded by Dr. Beth. My question is same as Kirsten's. What is our estimated cost for this? What do we anticipate? How many hours is this gonna take? Is there some kind of job description of what the stipend employee would do or the additional job requirements? I'm just curious because we wanna,
What do the webmasters generally?
Yeah.
So it varies, do you know off the top of your head, is it a few thousand?
I think it's like, don't quote me, I think it's like $840
So what we would do
per
is-
school.
Yeah, per
school.
webmaster, we have one per school, at least. So what we would do is, you know, if this motion passes, we would create a job description. And we would look at comparable stipends in other districts and put that together. And then see if we have the funding, because we are in a default budget. So we would have to look for that first.
my other question is, how would this stipend be off, like what's the determination for who would be awarded the stipend? Is it anyone in our district qualify? Is it someone in the private sector could bid on it?
I think we would post it. It would be an open position, like any open position that we would hire for. And people would apply, and we would interview them and select the best candidate who's qualified. Someone who has, you know, skills in this area, maybe interests, maybe experience, you know, working in social media. So it would be a new position.
Also, my last question is, have we considered engaging, we have a marketing class at LRTC, have we considered possibly engaging who teaches that and seeing if this is something that could be not just beneficial to the school district, but educational to those students, where they're helping do graphic design and they, you know, help and plan for, like, there's a school board meeting, like that's an assignment, we could make the most creative posting for that.
I believe the committee discussed that idea, and so that's certainly something that we'll bring to them as well. You know, I know that we think of LRTC a lot when we think of these creative ideas, and those teachers will say that their curriculum is already squeezed into the school year. They have lots happening. But maybe there is a student who has this interest and is looking for an extended learning opportunity. I would love that. I think it varies by student and by year if you have a student who's particularly interested. We also mentioned perhaps the school board rep would be, you know, the student school board rep would be someone who could, I mean, they're already bringing you a report of around the district, so possibly.
And with great respect for the benefit of opportunity of student learning, as an intellectual property professional, I will tell you that if you were to allow students to manage an outward-facing account that represents a school district, that person should never, a student should never be allowed to do that without direct and consistent supervision before posting.
I would
That
think-
you are begging for trouble.
I would think the adult would manage the account, but content could be, yeah. I would not think a student should ever be managing such a
I don't think they should
important
have
online digital
access to
asset.
the posting button, although I love our students, I just don't want to get them in trouble.
Prefer to have an adult do it than
I guess ultimately, based on the spirit of the motion, the admin are gonna, you guys are gonna post something, figure out what's a fair way to compensate if it's budgeted, and ultimately, that determination will be done by our administration.
And we'll give you an update because it is not budgeted. This is brand new, unanticipated position, stipend, but we'll look at that.
And not to knock learning opportunities, but like, this kind of work is not nothing. It requires a lot of
Yeah.
consideration and a specific skill set.
Yes, absolutely.
Superintendent, we discussed having third-year students, or there's typically 2 years of the LRTC programs, from what I understand. Then there's a third year where they can go to work in the community. And speaking with the coordinator of that, see if somebody would come in that way. And we discussed pretty thoroughly, I think, the fact that, yeah, we wouldn't have kids home about.
That's right.
We would have to be adult supervision.
Is there any other discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, Kathy, if you could call the roll once you're ready, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Aye.
Mary?
Yes.
Dr.
Yes.
Birdie,
Aye. Okay, next I have the finance committee update. No update. Still waiting until we do our budget work in November, and that'll likely, how that's informed will be determined by what ultimately we agree is part of negotiations, which gets me into the finance committee report. No update other than to say that our negotiations commence on August 22nd, and we'll have our HR committee meeting starting at 9:30 at the Plex. We'll start as a legal meeting, or, just so the board know, we start negotiations, we get feedback from our legal counsel on things that they think we should pursue during negotiations, and we might ask them a few questions, or, we'll probably sit down and discuss how negotiations work, what the parameters are, state RSAs we have to follow, and then we will commence negotiating, and you guys will hear at every meeting that negotiations are ongoing until they're no longer ongoing, and we will provide our update to the board in non-public as a legal discussion before we ratify and present to the voters. So that process is beginning, and we expect it to be a good collaborative process. So we have a good team with some folks who have done it around and some new folks who have experience negotiating contracts who are gonna, learn about this process. So with that, we can go into closing activities. So our advanced planning, we have our school board workshop at the KRHS Plex at 6 p.m. on August 18th. As I mentioned, August 22nd, it's the HR committee meeting. It's going to be all in non-public, but 9:30 a.m. start. August 25th is a new staff orientation. August 26th through 28th is the staff and service days. August 28th is the KRMS and K through 6 meet and greets and the KRHS Jumpstart. September 2nd is the first day of school for students, and September 8th is our school board meeting at the Kingswood Arts Center at 6 p.m. And for, obviously these dates are all subject to change. You can see the GWRSD.org /calendar for the most current event details, and again, those are subject to change. And with that, we can now go into public input, 15 minutes, 3 minutes for individuals, unless extended by a vote of the board.
Is it okay if I?
Of course, you're public, you can certainly, provide input. If you could just state your name and town of residence.
So my name is Adrian Champagne. I currently live in Tuftonboro, and I'm alum of Kingswood. Not to harp on the phone thing and communication device thing, but when I graduated in 2020, and when I was in the high school, there was a lot of moments just with everything going on starting in 2016 where I know mental health stuff with me and my friends, we would have to contact our parents. And in my experience, I didn't have full comfortability and trust in the people that I was supposed to go to be like, hey, I need to call my mom, or hey, I'd like to go home. Because in my experience, when I said that I was struggling mentally, it was pushed off because I wasn't sick. I was healthy enough to be in school, so I had to stay in school. But when I called my mom saying, hey, I'm having a panic attack, hey, I locked myself in the bathroom and I can't breathe, come get me, she would call me out immediately. And if I wasn't able to get a hold of my phone, I wouldn't be able to do that, and I'd just be sad to go into a full panic attack in class, and I'm not learning anything. I'm just suffering. And I know none of you have a way you're just at the mercy of the state. But just to get that out there, that's what I experienced in school, but I was able to get to my phone. And I know that kids are experiencing bullying, mental health issues, and especially with just the state of the world, it's getting harder and harder on Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And yeah, so that's just something that I experienced. And also just personal issues. My friends, when they got their period, having to go to the bathroom and be like, Mom, pick me up, I need to go home. And not feeling comfortable to go to the office or the nurse's office because it's already past that. So things like that are things that I think need to be considered, and hopefully, things will change. But yeah, just wanted to say that.
Thank you for providing your input. Is there any other public input? Do you have any? No? Seeing none, I'll close public input and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Nate, seconded by Dr. Jim. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Kathy, call the roll, please.
Tom,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Dr. Beth,
Yes, please.
Danielle,
Yes.
Nate,
Yes.
Brody.
Aye. And we are adjourned at, what is it, 8:50?